Many countries seek to transform their economies, but few do it with such a centralized approach and such vast amounts of capital. Through its Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia wants to shed its image as just an oil nation and modernize its economy. It's a goal that comes from the very top, with the Crown Prince meeting President Trump and foreign business leaders in the United States at the end of 2025. More than 40% of Saudi Arabia's GDP comes from oil, but by 2030, the kingdom wants that number to be closer to 35%, with around two-thirds of GDP coming from non-oil sources. Just this month, the country started opening its property market to foreign investors and announced plans to do the same with its equity markets after a year of poor returns. In 2025, Saudi Arabia's benchmark index dropped 13%, despite strong stock performance in much of the rest of the world. Stephen Cook is a senior fellow for Middle East and Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations.
The Saudi economy has been a commercial economy, but it hasn't really had genuine institutions of a market economy. Independent courts, which he hasn't even tackled yet, but rational investment laws and the things that investors really need in order to operate outside of the hydrocarbon industry.
You know, with the Vision 2030, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince said we have to diversify the economy. We don't want to continue relying on one source of income, which is the oil. In a time where we have vast number of other things like mining, natural resources, phosphate, gold, and nature. We can do a lot in the sport, culture, and entertainment and tourism.
His Excellency Ahmed Al-Khateeb has been serving as Saudi Arabia's Minister of Tourism since 2020.
Tourism was one of the main pillars of Vision 2030, and since then we have been working to modernize the country, build new destinations, new airlines, Riyadh Airlines, new airports including King Salman Airport, and new hotels.
Leisure tourism might be relatively new to Saudi Arabia, but for centuries, millions of Muslims have come to Mecca and Medina for the Hajj religious pilgrimage.
We are blessed to have the two holy cities. They used to represent 60% of our international arrivals back in 2019, and last year they dropped to 46%, and the leisure increased, and therefore we will continue pushing and promoting travel for leisure to Saudi Arabia, travel to enjoy your holidays in Saudi Arabia, and in the same time, the religious tourism will grow to a much bigger number than what we are having today.
But now Saudi Arabia wants to put a new foot forward. It might look like the Maldives, but that's the Shabara Resort, Saudi Arabia, on the Red Sea.
Well, we were born out of Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is trying to accomplish a number of different things for the country, amongst which, obviously, creating a vibrant society, opening up the kingdom, and diversifying the economy.
John Pagano is CEO of Red Sea Global, a real estate development company founded by the Crown Prince himself to create the real estate that will become part of Saudi Arabia's tourism offerings.
We have a beautiful, pristine environment, which in the world today doesn't exist. I mean, we've exploited our nature and our environments globally. When I first came to Saudi Arabia, I was shocked at how beautiful and pristine this environment was. We had beautiful islands, a coastline that was largely untouched.
Pagano's shock is exactly the image that the kingdom wants to change. Stephen Cook said there's a long road ahead.
I was there before the opening up of Saudi Arabia, and it was extraordinary because nobody had been there. But in terms of tourism, I think that, yes, there'll be tourism from, major Muslim countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, which has the second largest Muslim population in the world, even though it's not a Muslim country. But also, I think there is a genuine interest in attracting people from the West, Americans and Europeans, and not just the kind of, adventure tourism that they may have seen so far.
Beach resorts attract wealthy tourists, but the kingdom is also leaning into its rich history to combine luxury and culture for what it hopes will be a unique experience.
AlUla is an incredible place, a place like no other. It's a region in northwest Saudi Arabia with incredible natural and cultural significance. It's located on the ancient incense route, and many civilizations has passed through for thousands of years.
Abeer AlAkel is the CEO of the Royal Commission for AlUla, which means glory in Arabic. The city is one of 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Saudi Arabia, and the kingdom has big plans to make the destination a central part of its tourism initiative.
AlUla is not just a historical site. AlUla is a home. Many families has lived there for generations, and I would say that an example would be AlUla Old Town, where it was inhabited by the families starting from the 12th century until late 1980s. Now, if you bring all of this together, the ancient past, the incredible nature, protected nature, and the living culture and living community, this basically gets you a complete picture of AlUla. It's important to say that AlUla is Saudi Arabia's treasure, but it's also the gift for the world.
Which year did AlUla open for international tourists?
We started our efforts back in 2019. Today, we have received around 300,000 guests, visitors to AlUla, 30% of which are international visitation. So we're targeting around 2 million visitors by 2035.
If AlUla's plan to bring in 2 million visitors by 2035 sounds ambitious when it attracted only 15% of that last year, that's because it is. It echoes the kingdom's big target of getting 50 million foreign visitors a year by the end of the decade, in addition to 100 million local tourists. It's a goal that is even more stunning, considering the kingdom only opened its borders to leisure tourists in 2019. Do you feel like you're on track to get there?
I'm very comfortable. The 50 million will put Saudi Arabia among the top 10 most visited countries around the world.
And how much of a draw are those big mega events, the World Expo, potentially FIFA World Cup? How much of a draw is that going to be in terms of bringing in those international tourists, and where does it fit in to your broader plan?
It is very important for us to repeat the visitors who will come again and again to spend their holidays in Saudi Arabia, not to come only for business or to visit their families and friends.
Adding leisure tourism to its offerings requires a big capital outlay. The government plans to spend almost $1 trillion in all to transform its tourism industry. Private investment in tourism rose to $3.8 billion in 2024, and about 40% of that comes from foreign capital. How important is it to get private sector involvement with all of these events and projects that you're putting together?
It's very important. It is part of Vision 2030. We want the private sector to drive. We are a regulator. When we opened this sector, the government started to stimulate the sector. But down the road, this sector has to be run by the private sector. The private sector in the tourism build the hotel, build the shopping mall, and build the restaurants, etc. And they operate it. They are the investor, they are the operator. But they have to, the private sector in Saudi Arabia is contributing heavily in building new destinations and the new experiences. We cannot do it alone. The private sector role is very vital to the success of this sector.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also has stiff competition from its neighbor, the United Arab Emirates, and beach destinations in Africa and Asia.
This is a dynamic throughout the region. There is competition among all of these countries and cities, actually, and even within them. There's a competition between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, even though they're both in the UAE. And I think that the Saudis always looked at themselves as the big dog in the region, but they'd lagged behind in terms of the kind of ability to attract businesses and firms and build these gleaming cities.
International visitors account for almost 80% of the UAE's tourism expenditure. And right now, Dubai offers tourists something that much of the rest of Saudi Arabia doesn't: alcohol. But even that is changing.
Well, you can get alcohol in the diplomatic quarter. You could always get it through diplomatic pouch, but now there's actually a shop. And so Saudis proclaim, not officially, but they would say, this is a precursor. This is the first step towards legalizing alcohol in the kingdom. I don't think anybody knows when that's going to happen. And from, I think, the Saudi perspective, that's not make or break. People will want to come to Saudi Arabia. They'll want to see Jeddah and Riyadh and AlUla and other places and it won't deter them if they can't get a glass of wine. But it certainly would be a nice addition if they could.
A growing tourism industry is also changing things at home.
Look, I think the transformation has been breathtaking. I first came to Saudi Arabia for the very first time in 2017. And, you know, the changes in society, simple things like cinemas and music, women driving, and, you know, you're walking around today in a Western business suit, which back then you probably didn't see.
The local community are basically the heart of our vision. Since the beginning, we ensured that we have set in place an approach that ensures empowering our local community through education, stewardship, and opportunities.
Is Saudi infrastructure ready to accommodate this potential influx of future tourists?
Oh, yes. We're ready today. We have catered for 116 without any issue. But definitely we're building new destinations, new experiences. I believe we are ready to cater for with the projects in the pipeline under construction, whether Riyadh Airlines or King Salman Airport that will happen, and many other airports like Abha Airport, Asir Airport, which is important, and the hotel rooms that are under constructions in Dir'iyah and many other destination or location. We will be absolutely fine. I don't think we will have a challenge to achieve the 150 billion.